Rumble's back. Okay, I'm what you would call a Rumble Johnson mark. I enjoy what he does. I find it exciting. I don't know that anybody would possibly disagree with me. He was flirting with the idea of coming back through the media. This goes back a year where he was dangling this, I think I'm going to come back routine. But nobody really knew if that was happening. Somebody asked Dana about it not that long ago. And I'm kind of summarizing what Dana said. He goes, I don't know. That was talked about for a while, and now that's not talked about. Okay, he's back. I mean, he is in the pool. That's the first step. But you would only get in the pool if you're coming back. He's been in the practice room. I hear from his teammates. Okay, Rumble's back, but not so fast in terms of where. Because where is Rumble coming back to is extremely relevant to the story. We thought he was coming back at heavyweight, and I love that idea. Just for the parody, just for the mix-up, for the switch-up. I saw him fight on the regional scene. For example, I was there live. He fought Andrei Arlovsky. So I've seen him at heavyweight. Power's definitely good enough. You guys aren't going to question that. The other thing that was happening is he was just faster. He was just faster with those bigger guys. They were just targets that couldn't get out of the way. I thought he was going to do great at heavyweight. Certainly be a contender instantly. By putting his name on the docket, he becomes one of the guys. One win away from being one win away. Yeah, probably at the furthest. One win away from being one win away. But he's come back and he's announced he's going to go light heavyweight. Now that's just fine too. He was the king of the light heavyweights. He beat anybody in the world that wasn't named Daniel Cormier, and did. And to find out Rumble's coming back at light heavyweight 1 hour after Jon Jones allegedly vacates. I got to say allegedly because he said this a couple of times, and I don't know how that makes it official, or if that is official. However all of that works. I want to be a sucker. I want to be a sucker again. Fell for it the first time, don't want to fall for it the second time, even though the second time now feels true, but it is very interesting timing. I mean, Jon Jones leaving, you go, whoa, that's a dent to the division. That's a big dent for Jon to be gone. We've gone through that before when he was stuck in the principal's office. It was a blow. Well, you reinsert Rumble Johnson, all of a sudden that division's looking just as good as it ever did. And that was always the fight that got away, Rumble versus Jon Jones. You guys will recall that. Those guys were supposed to be matched up. They were signed to match up. They had done some media and even some face-offs because of their matchup. And the match never happened. So as Rumble comes back at 205 pounds, 60 minutes after Jon Jones exits stage left, it just seems like, oh, okay, that problem solved. But you still do come back to the same question. Well, how far is he away? He's going to be one of the guys. Just by putting his name down, he's going to be one of the guys. Is he one win away from being one win away? Probably. No more than that. Maybe only one and he's right back in. There's an interesting argument that will not hold up. By the way, this will not hold up, that you could put him in right now. Right? I mean, you could have Reyes and Jan fight for the title. They're fighting anyway. Their main event, 5 rounds anyway. Put the belt up. Winner takes on Rumble. That is not happening. That is not how it will work. He will have to come back. He will have to compete with somebody. He will have to prove himself. There's a few moving parts there. There's a time frame. USADA, when you leave as an athlete and you return, I know this used to be true, and I believe it still is 4 months. It's a 4-month pool that you have to be in. So if he re-entered the pool, we found out yesterday, let's imagine he started yesterday, we kicked the can 4 months. And they could book him a fight and probably will. They'll just book it to a week after. It could be a day after, but somewhere within that time frame. I offer that for you because it's not a situation where he's going to have to do the 4 months. Okay, great, now let's talk. No, they can book him as long as he's in the pool. They just can't fight him until he's done. So who does Rumble fight? Where does Rumble go? And he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that you can't just go, okay, let's just put him in there with somebody. It's too dangerous of a skill set. He has to be in there with an absolute top guy. And there's some matches that'll be wildly fun. I mean, there's guys out there that can take his shots. Not many of them, but there are. Don't tell me Anthony Smith can't take his shot. Anthony Smith can take that shot. And I still remember the night that he fought Daniel Cormier. Did you guys see that fight? First round. I mean, do you remember like the first minute of that fight? Rumble connected with that right hand, and Daniel went not only down, he did a full backwards roll. Head over tea kettle, popped right back up to his feet and started firing back. I mean, that was an amazing contest. Both of them were very interesting matches, and even if Daniel got the upper hand and got it in an overwhelming way, he didn't get it right away. He had to work for it. There's ways to beat Rumble. Like anybody you've ever seen fight, you get enough footage on a guy, you can start to identify the ways. But to actually be able to go out there and do it, I only bring Anthony Smith up because he's a top guy. It's going to be very hard to get anything done in that division if you don't go through him. And when you do look at Anthony, who can take those shots, all of a sudden you start to have a very fun match. I do not predict for you that their paths are going to cross anytime soon. I just share with you, you're going to need some of those top guys. I mean, you're going to need them just from a responsibility standpoint. So let's see what happens with Rumble. Good news is he's back. I think that's great news. I really think that's great news, in addition to the timing. And that's one of the things that nobody really saw coming. It was a very interesting news day. In all fairness, this is Stipe's week. And as you get to the end of the week, you start passing that over to Munoz and Edgar. Right? I mean, that's just kind of the way that goes. John Jones slides in, takes all the headlines away from everybody. 1 hour later, Rumble slides in, takes the headlines away from him. So it's one of these things, it's one of these things where no matter how big your story is or how much vigor you got, another story comes in, boom, you slid down. You're an afterthought. It's a very real thing within the sport. It is. What have you done for me lately? I got a fortune cookie one time as a kid. I've never forgotten it. I don't know that I've ever remembered a fortune cookie except this one. All it said, success is something people have to be reminded of often. And it's just ever bit so true. No matter how good you were at anything, somebody else comes in. And maybe you were better, maybe you could have beaten, but it gets forgotten. Success is something people have to be reminded of often. Do what you will with that. But I've remembered it.